morning. How are you guys? It's Minnie here from Brampton, Ontario. Let me know if I can, let me know if you can hear me. It's been a while. I hope you guys have had an excellent long weekend. Just bear with me one moment. Are you guys? All right. So I hope you guys had an excellent long weekend here. If you're in Ontario, Canada, it's a long weekend here. A lot of families have taken time to do some family activities. And for me, it was an excellent week and weekend. So both of my daughter's birthday was on Monday of last week and then Sunday. So we were planning those things and it's back to work now and to get things going. And I haven't done this in a while, and so I wanted to, before I have a meeting at 10:30, so I've got about, what does that give me? Just about 17 minutes or so, and I thought, let me do a quick reading with you guys. And you've seen me started this book. It's called Fierce Conversation. And I wanted to be inspired this morning and to share what I'm doing with you all. And so that, that positivity, that positiveness can also have an impact on your life, nudge you a little bit, as well as myself to get going. And it's called Fierce Conversation. And I'm going to be reading chapter 2 and principle 2. And this chapter is it's about come out from behind yourself into the conversation and make it real. So the chapter is on the second principle, and it talks about come out from behind yourself into the conversation and make it real. If you're hopping on now, drop a comment in the comment section below. It's me here from Brampton, Ontario. All right. So it says, authenticity is not something you have. It is something you choose. So you choose to be authentic. Authenticity is not something you have. It is something you choose. You are an original, an utterly unique human being. You cannot have the life you want, make the decision you want, or be the leader you are capable of being until your actions represent an authentic expression of who you really are or who you wish to become. Okay, so I'll just reread that part because I think that particular sentence has a really, really big impact. So it says, you are an original, an utterly unique human being. You cannot have the life you want, make the decisions you want, or be the leader you are capable of being until your actions represent an authentic expression of who you really are or who you wish to become. The same is true within an organization. Every organization wants to feel it is having a real conversation with its employees, its customers, its territory, and with the unknown future that is emerging around it. So I'll pause there for a quick second. Hey Google, set timer for 10:28 a.m.
Okay, 10:28 a.m. It's for 12 minutes and 24 seconds.
So
Starting now.
by that time, I have to be finished because I have a 10:30 meeting. Each individual within an organization wants to have conversations that build his world of meaning. In the context of fierce conversation, this requires that you pay attention to Woody Allen's first rule of entanglement. Show up. You must deliberately, purposely come from behind yourself into the conversation and make it real. At least you're part of it. But aren't most people pretty real during a conversation? That's a question. I wish I could answer with a resounding yes. But even when you are committed to authenticity, it can be surprisingly difficult. In news reports, we often read that someone was speaking on conditions of autonomy. No, wrong. Someone was speaking on condition of anatomy. A near pathological anatomy and inauthenticity are the stuff of many lies. A friend whose mother had recently died said, my mother never shared her dark days. Our troubles with me? No. I don't feel I really knew her. How real are any of us if we do not share our dark days with those closest to us? If we do not claim our failures as well as our success? If you listened in a conversation with employees, learn their views of their organization's strategy, and then watch them reverse their position in the presence of higher up, or if you turned it to the internal anguish of someone in a troubled marriage and heard him or her respond, "Nothing's wrong," to an inquiring spouse, you might conclude, as did Martin Amis, that we are out there on the cutting edge of the uncontroversial. While many are afraid of real, it is the unreal conversations that should scare us to death. Whoever said talk is cheap was mistaken. Unreal conversations are incredibly expensive for organizations and for individuals. I have witnessed this up close and personal during my work with CEOs. Some things are difficult to talk about because the fix won't be easy, but as I said before, if a problem exists, it exists whether we talk about it or not. In fact, as Carl Jung said, what we do not make conscious emerges late as faith. And amen to that. Faith caught up with one of my favorite CEOs who waited too long to address a major shift within his industry. The lesson I learned is that ineffectiveness can be stealthy. It doesn't always come right out and smack you in the face. Few people are eager to confess what's really going on if it will reflect badly on them. Let me tell you about Jim. So this book, it's fierce conversation, but it's achieving success at work and in life, one conversation at a time. So the concept in here, which I'm constantly learning, and a lot of it is quite familiar to all of us, but we may or may take it for granted on a daily basis. Having a conversation about the small things that goes wrong, or because you've got other intentions, you're skipping those conversations. And so that's why, and from my understanding, it's saying that when the conversation doesn't occur, the results will be in the fate, the outcome, right? It's like you're deciding your fate. Or in the case when they were talking about the marriage, they're saying, "Oh, nothing is wrong," or nothing is going on, but in reality, there is a lot that's happening. How many t-shirts does one person really need? Early in my working with top executives, I experienced a stunning end to a meeting with Jim, the owner and president of a company that printed art on T-shirts, which were then sold in retail stores nationwide. Jim and I had filled almost two uh, filled almost 2 hours with Jim and I had filled almost 2 hours reviewing the progress on his to-do list from our previous session and identifying his priorities for the upcoming month. We had talked about the purchase of a new screen printing machine, strategies to increase sales, improvements in communications among top executives, Jim negotiations with a talented but difficult designer. We had talked about a recurring theme, Jim struggles to balance work and family. And as often happened, we spoke briefly about a shared love, flying fish, and Jim's latest fly fishing jaunt with his best friend. It had been easy to fill 2 hours with agenda items, and I was about to talk about the door of Jim's office thinking I had done my job. It has been easy to fill 2 hours with agenda items, and I was about to walk out the door of Jim's office thinking I had done my job. In reality, we had merely been water skiing. With 10 minutes left in our session, Jim fell silent and leaned back in his chair. Finally, he said, what if everyone who buys the kind of t-shirts we produce had all the t-shirts they need? I got chill. What do you mean? Jim continued. Well, think about it. How many t-shirts do you have? A drawer full, around 10, 15, maybe 20? You give me, you give me most of them actually. How many of those did you buy? I thought about it, probably 7 or 8. When did you last buy one of our t-shirts or a t-shirt of any kind? Maybe 2 years ago. Where? At Maui on Front Street. But you've been to Maui since then, haven't you? Yes. Did you buy t-shirts the last time you went there? No. Why not? Well, mostly I wear t-shirts on vacation, and since I have so many t-shirts, I just pack the ones I already had. Have you bought t-shirts as gifts for the family? Yes, sometimes, but not this last trip. Well, everyone has plenty of t-shirts, just like I do. Besides, they like to choose their own different tastes. You know what I mean? Exactly. I felt the air being sucked out of the room. This was what we should have been talking about for the last 2 hours, and now it was time for me to leave. Another client is expecting me. Jim said quietly, I suspect that the world of fashion is moving away from what we manufacture towards stuff we don't manufacture. Jim, why haven't we been talking about this since I walked in the door? Jim sighed. It's not something I want to think about, much less talk about, but avoiding it is no longer an option. I suspect our flat sales aren't just a short-term dip. I think we've got trouble. In the remaining minutes, I assured Jim that I would carve out time on the agenda for him to put this in front of his peers at the group meeting the next week. I handed him a copy of the issue presentation form introduced in Chapter 1, and we got to work. But we had waited too long. Gradually, then suddenly, one missing conversation at a time, one one less than fierce conversation at a time, Jim business hit the skids. 6 months later, he sold what was left of his company and walked away with just a t-shirt on his back. His fellow CEOs and I were horrified that we had let this happen on our watch. I fell on the sword, after all. It was my responsibility to surface the most important issues of my members, get them on the table, and do it in time to fix anything that was breaking or broken. I vowed that I would never ever let what happened to Jim happen to anyone else, that I would make sure to surface and tackle the toughest issues the moment they arose, would sniff them out, and if I had a reluctant client or colleague, no more negative suddenly. This is why I developed the mineral rights model I want you to master, and it has served me well ever since. Not being real and not inviting others to be real, listening to them when they are cost Jim his company. It was also most it can also cost companies its best employees. One company president I worked with was known to stuff candid input in its track with the pronouncement Howard. I do not consider that a career enhancing response. Howard knew it was time to move on. Fortunately, few leaders exhibit such exaggerated violations of the general rules of communication. However, agreed, purpose, or just plain cowardice can cause leaders to duck and dodge the truth, even though history has proved that secrecy is unsustainable, but the truth will eventually surface. I wonder how many employees at Volkswagen and Mitsubishi of falsified diesel emission tests, or at Takata, whose exploding airbags caused grave injuries and death, discovered that when they expressed concern, which is the truth, was not welcome. In our significant relationships in the workplace and in our conversations with ourselves, we'd like to tell the truth. We'd like to be able to successfully tackle the topic that's keeping us stuck or at odds with one another. But the task is often too hard, and we don't know how to avoid the all too familiar outcome of talks gone south. Besides, I've learned to live with it. Why wreck another meeting with our colleagues or another weekend with our life partner trying to resolve the tough issue or answer the big question? We're tired and just want peace in the land. The problem is, and that's my cue to stop. Hey Google, stop. So thank you for spending this time to me with me today. Good morning, Shiraz. Good morning, Featurin. I appreciate you joining. I'll continue this reading. And in summary, what is that particular few paragraphs is saying is, have these tough conversations, whether it's in your business, if you're doing a business, or your workplace, or in your relationship. Tackle the truth. And if the outcome is what it is, then that's what it is. But it's better to tackle it now than later on, because fate is still going to be decided, whether it's in a working environment or in a relationship environment. And I've seen that happen in my personal life. However, the truth will surface at some point, and then the fate will be decided, whether it's in your hand, it's no longer in your hands if those conversations does not happen. So talk to you soon again. Take care. Always remember to have an attitude of gratitude. Stay blessed and take care. Bye bye for now.